So welcome everybody. This is season 2 of the MILPA show. And guess what? We're highlighting Desiree Rosas today. Very, very, very excited to talk to her. That's right. Yep. That's the energy we're bringing to season 2. So we're excited about that. So we have our programs and leadership assistant at MILPA, Desiree Rosas, and we're going to actually get started with a little check-in question. So Des, if you want to, the queen of a movie show and references and whatnot, go ahead and kick us off with a little bit of what's your favorite movie show reference? We're always like kind of going back and forth with like references and laughing about little details here and there. So feel free to tell us like anything that's popping up for you right now at this moment that's relevant as far as a movie or a show reference.
Okay, cool. Hey, everybody. Yes, we do have our little communication, speaking in movie and show references. It's hilarious. One that's coming up for me right now, I don't know if you guys have ever watched the movie, what is it called? With the Will Ferrell, Semi-Pro? And they go, everybody love everybody. I think that's hilarious, but it's also like so profound and so simple. It's like, just everybody love everybody. So I think that one's gonna be it for me. I love that movie. It's hilarious. Will Ferrell's awesome. And it just makes sense. Everybody love everybody.
I love it. I feel it. And the one that I was thinking about is Dumb and Dumber, where he says, I like it a lot. That's the one that I thought right now. That one has so many good ones. I love it. So, but that one's like one that I kind of reference a lot. Like, I like it a lot. It's just dumb. So, yeah, with that, I'll pass it on to whoever wants to go next.
Yeah, it's interesting, like Will Ferrell and Jim Carrey, right? It's like for sure. That was the first two that came to mind, right? I was thinking more Ace Ventura, right? And like the Pet Detective, right? But I think just because I watched it recently and it just had me rolling. It was Talladega Nights, right? By con Will Ferrell también. The whole shake and bake, Ricky Bobby, it's a a name with two first names, it's like just classic. But the whole shake and bake, that partnership, it's like it just gets me going.
Yeah, Mel. Honestly, I'm not a big movie person, so I feel like every single time I hang out with y'all or even talk to y'all, I learn hella things. I'm like, I'm gonna check that movie out. But like this whole week, my roommate has been watching a bunch of things with like Forrest Gump. So right now, like that little saying of what is it called? Run, Forrest, run. It just keeps running through my head, and I haven't even watched the movie, so I'm gonna go with that one.
Yeah, no, healthy watching, right? And a veces, it's a good component to just for laughter. It's like there's a lot of content to watch. I'm a very big content on documentaries and stuff. Things that are going on and affecting our social lives. Pero anyways, con eso, it's like I think we can just jump in and there's share as much as you want, whatever you feel comfortable with, right? And I think just to start this, just we understand, that you were already part of a couple of episodes already, right? Collaboration with, like the Mother's Day episode and stuff. But, thinking about highlighting you and your story, it's like maybe, again, however much you want to share, right? Maybe you can tell us a little bit about your upbringing.
Okay, yes, thank you so much. That's a good question. So if I'm going to start with my childhood or upbringing, I'm just going to probably want to preface it with like, I'm a system impacted, like formerly incarcerated person. So my childhood was, it was interesting to say the least. I grew up in foster homes, group homes. I have 3 brothers and 3 sisters that I love very much. And we all went through this together. So just want to give them a little bit of a shout out, my siblings. I love you guys. And I think for the most part, I was more naive to what was going on when I was growing up. So I'd say like I had a lot of good times, especially when you have so many siblings. It's like, it's never boring. There's always something to do. There's always like someone to pick on, I guess, because I'm the second oldest. So I have my older brother, then it's me, then I have my other brothers and sisters that are also younger. They're all younger than me. So we all went through similar life experiences in our childhood. We grew up in a single parent, low income family. But I think for the most part, like I said, the fact that I had my siblings there with me and we were going through these things together really like helped me push through those times in my childhood. We just had each other's back. Nobody could mess with us, because if you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. So I'd say, yes, there was like a combination of like, really awesome, cool memories with my brothers and sisters, but also, those not so wonderful memories of growing up in, a community where there's a lot of, I'd say, community violence, poverty, and to a certain extent, which I didn't realize it then as a child, but I realize it now in retrospect, just systemic racism within like where I was growing up, right? And what led to really my life circumstances and how, the things that me and my brothers and sisters had to experience and go through within the foster care system and the group home system. I'd say it went like that throughout my whole childhood into my teenage years. My adolescence, I was a little bit of a troublemaker. I got myself in a little bit of trouble. I was probably, I didn't know how to deal with the trauma of what I went through as a child, and not having a lot of resources or support to really like navigate me through like, hey, this is what you went through and this is how you could deal with it. And here's other options that you have for your future, or how to deal with or even process some of the emotions that I was going through. So I'd say that's why for me it's like kind of like, I'd say a rough experience, but also, these things build character. I don't know if I wanted to build my character that way, but yes, I did. And that's what I was dealt, like the hand that I was dealt as a child or as an adolescent. But yeah, I mean, like I said, those are things that are character building, and they make you who you are. And I feel like, yes, I look back at my childhood kind of, it was rough, but also it helped me to be who I am today. And I love myself how I am today. So, I mean, I can't really say like, hey, like I would change anything about my life, because this is who I am now. And if I wouldn't be who I am now if it wasn't for my upbringing in my childhood and what we went through.
Yeah. You kind of started touching on this next question, right? That popped up to my train of thought as you were talking, speaking, and sharing, right? And it's how has your life experiences, right, shaped your current worldview?
Okay, yeah, that's a good one. Okay, so I mean, I'd say a lot of people who had been through similar situations as myself could possibly lean towards like being more of a cynic, or just kind of looking at the world kind of negatively. I feel like for me it's kind of like the opposite. Now I'm like that person, like I can empathize with people because I've been through a lot of things that others have been through as well. If not, then I could at least try and put myself in their shoes, which it doesn't really get you there, but it's something. So I feel like the fact that I went through all these things right in my life made me feel like I'm very appreciative of all the positive things that I have in my life. Like I'm super grateful every day, I wake up grateful that, I'm not in those situations anymore. And now I have an opportunity to like do something about it. And like how we're doing now is hopefully sharing my story and inspiring or influencing people to just also like, hey, don't let it get you down. I know it's easier said than done. And that's probably super like optimist and like, just probably asking for too much, but hey, like at least, knowing like you can see the world in a positive way, you can be grateful for what you have, because not everybody has those things. Not everybody has the blessings that you have, the opportunity, the privilege. So I think I just more like use all my experiences as just a reference point of like, that's where I was and this is where I am now. And I'm so grateful.
Yeah. Was there like a point in in your journey, right, where you were like, I have to do something different?
Definitely. So I noticed a pattern in my family. Some people probably might know it as like generational trauma, you know, noticing that there was like similarities between the way that they, like my grandparents and my parents were dealing with their own issues, their own, whether it's mental health, emotional, spiritual, whatever they were going through. It was a reference point for me, I think. Sorry. Oh goodness. Yeah, so I just want to be the person to stop it, or at least try to turn it to a different path, break the generational curses, you know, try something different, try something new that I know either my grandparents or my own parents were not ready to do, or at least address, or at least try, you know. So for me, it was like, I know it has to stop here. Something has to be done to make a better future for my own child. I'm a mother, I have a son, and I wouldn't want to pass on any of the trauma that I've experienced in my life to him. So for me, it's like, yes, I do. I want to stop it there. This is the, you know, I'm starting off anew. I'm going to make something different for future generations. Well, within my bloodline, within my family, and hopefully others as well. Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely, right? Breaking the cycle of harm and building the circle of healing, you know, that's yeah, for sure. And I think this next question, right, is this, it's kind of I mean, it's big, you know, it's like, so hopefully you can maybe give us some an answer, right? If not, it's cool, right? We can always pass, you know, but it's really pretty like kind of broad and like, you know, in this, but it's like, it's Des, you know, and this is something that we want to hear from Des, because Des, I'm just gonna say, tell you folks, like Des is super cool. She's so legit, right? She's for the people. She's with the people, right? She comes from you know, from the hood, from the barrio también, from the calle, just like, you know, a lot of us do, you know, and it's good to see that the familiarity, right? So, you know, in your journey up to this point, right? Are there some goals or aspirations that you're really like trying to achieve? You know, it could be long term or short term, but maybe something that's just really at the forefront of your living experience right now.
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay. So I feel like for me, I feel like I have like everyday goals. So I wake up, you know, with the goal to be grateful every day, to show up as my true authentic self every day. And that one's easier said than done as well, you know, to just show up every day as your true authentic self. So that's one goal that I wake up with every morning, is just be that, be you, Des. Do you, girlfriend? But also just, and you know, one other one that I wake up with as well is just to be the best mother I can be and the best person I can be to other people. Like I said in the beginning, everybody love everybody. That's legit a motto I live by. Like, you know, just spread love, and why, you know, why anything else? Just do that. But I'd say like probably bigger picture stuff would be to make a difference in my community, to show people that, like how you had mentioned before, like you could start off like, you know, in the ghetto, in the streets, and the, you know, and still do something positive, still do something big for not only for yourself, but for others as well. I know a lot of people don't think like me, and you know, that's okay. But I really feel like probably a life purpose of mine is to help other people. Is just something that like brings me a lot of joy. So being able to make a difference in my community, make a difference for people who have and or are experiencing similar things that I have experienced, which is like the foster care system, group homes, just the systems in general that like hold us back, or, you know, just stop us from reaching our true potential. So I'd say, yeah, that all that for future generations to come, so they could also see that they can do it as well. Just be an example, and if not, just plant a seed, you know? What was it Tupac that said, like, I might not be the person to change the world, but I'm going to influence the person that I might influence the person that's going to change the world. Like, man, if I could at least influence somebody and that makes a difference in the world, then like that's, I mean, I'd love to reach that goal.
That's beautiful. And I feel like that shows a little bit of how your character is. And just like even people get like the folks get like a little speck of like who Des is, you know, because even just with your goals and aspirations, people can see like, damn, like that's who Des is. But like showing like the greater part in just such a short amount of time, it's really cool. And I know it's been a super hard time and we've heard about it like the past couple months and the past year, but how can you tell us like a little bit of how you've been doing with the COVID and the pandemic and how'd you just like navigate through it?
Man, that's a good one. I feel like everybody has their own different ways that they've been coping with it. I'd say for myself, just mainly focusing on mental health. Like I'm just thinking in the top of my head right now, like just big like letters like mental health is so important. You know, red flashing lights, ding, 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 you know? So being able to just like really know and be aware of my mental health. I'd say, you know, luckily I have the privilege to be able to seek out and get mental health services in my area currently. So being able to use those resources that we have here and not fear any like sort of stigma of like people thinking like, oh, well, you go to therapy, so you must be crazy. Like, no, actually, I'm trying to prevent myself from going crazy. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to talk to my therapist and I'm going to make sure that I'm taking care of myself because you cannot pour from an empty cup. And I say that a lot. And I know you guys probably heard that from me a lot. For other folks, I say that a lot. You can't pour from an empty cup. So being able to make sure that my cup is full so I could also help other folks, because like I had mentioned, like that's just one thing that I really love to do. So making sure that I'm taking care of myself, taking care of my mental health. But there's also other types of health that you could address as well. So like for me, my culture and my spirituality is really important. So being able to practice my culture and my spirituality has been probably one of the biggest, if not the most important thing too, is just, you know, keeping like how we like to say, staying close to the fire, right? Just staying close to your spirituality, staying close to those things that keep that fire lit inside of you. So for instance, like, well, I'm a Native American person. I identify as Indigenous. So being able to, you know, burn my medicines, gopal, sage, cedar, and it's almost like for others that probably might not like really know about it, it's like a meditation almost. It's like you're putting yourself in a space of peace and trying to just I guess manifest the best things for yourself. Your thoughts create your reality. So putting yourself in a space where you can think positively. And I mean, I'm not perfect. I mean, I'm pretty sure I have negative thoughts, you know, those things pop up in your mind. And it's almost like, you know, but you are not your thoughts. You could just let them pass through, or you can hold on to them. I decide to let them pass through if they're not going to benefit me instead of holding on, you know. And the medicine helps me with that process of being able to, you know, navigate those thoughts and feelings and emotions and all those things that you have going on inside of yourself. um, yes, and I'd say too also, my little one, my son, he has, I mean, he's just the cutest, most loving little kid. Like he has a lot of energy. He does, but it keeps me on my toes and it gives me something to do. So like say I'm having a moment where I'm having like a little bit of a mental health issue or crisis, and I'm just like, okay, like I need to occupy myself. Like I could just be like, hey, Micah, let's go to the park, let's go for a walk. And it's like motivation for me too, to also just be a good example for him. So if I'm taking care of myself, he's gonna learn to take care of himself in that way by example.
Mhm.
So my little one has also really helped me get through these times because I know I have to be an example for him.
That's amazing. And for the folks who are just getting into like manifestation and spirituality, I know I come to you a lot whenever I have a question or like if I just want some advice. What would you say, like there's some like quick little tips that they would be able to get into to like reach that?
Oh man, so this is something that we have tried. So I'd say probably just start off small at first. So one exercise that we have, I believe us or myself and Rosaura have tried this already. And it's just kind of starting off small, but also like believing in yourself is really big, knowing how important your thoughts are. Like I had mentioned from previously, you are not your thoughts. So you can hold on to certain things. So I'm thinking holding on to the things that you want to manifest. So you could say, oh, I'm not successful, I'm never going to get anywhere. Or you can be like, I am successful, I am going places, and hold on to that, you know? But an exercise that we were trying is just like, even like writing it out in a like a way that it's like present time, this is actually happening currently. Like, I am successful, I am I don't know, whatever you want to be, happy. I am, I own a Corvette. I don't know, whatever you want, whatever your goals and aspirations are in life, you could start off by just writing them down. It could be even kind of like a journal. You could be writing to yourself. I like to write to the universe. So I like to write thank you notes to the universe. Hey, universe, how are you? Thank you so much for this and this and that. Even if I don't physically have it in front of me, being grateful for things kind of makes it gravitate towards you. So just gratefulness, writing it down, and just being really mindful of your thoughts.
That's super cool. And hearing about your goals and manifestations and aspirations, how did you come about MILPA? Like, how'd you find MILPA?
Ooh, that's a good story. I always say I manifested the job I have at MILPA. I talked my coworkers' ears off. I had a job previous to this. I was working at a department store, and I would always tell my coworkers like, oh, I'm going to work with youth. I'm going to like do this and this and that. I'm going to be working in an office. I was very specific on what I was going to do, right? So I'd say, yes, I manifested this job, but like, how did I come across MILPA? I'd say probably the universe was conspiring for me to work at MILPA too. It was really strange how it happened. It's such a crazy story. So I was receiving services at behavioral health, and I seen a flyer, and the image that you see behind Rosaura is what I seen. So the imagery itself caught me. I was like, oh, this is cool. This is my culture. This looks super dope. Like, what is this? So it got me questioning, what is this? What is MILPA? What do they do? I didn't understand. And so I was like, more like, oh, wow, this is cool. So I like took a flyer, and I didn't think anything of it, right? Because I was also going to school at the time and doing other things. So I wasn't thinking about, hey, let me call these folks and see what they're doing, because I was also doing other things at the time. Excuse me. So I'd say probably, what was it? A couple years later, that's when I was at my other job, and I was working my manifestations and talking people's ears off about the kind of job that I wanted, and speaking as if it was reality, like I'm going to, like it's going to happen, like y'all watch and see, like it's gonna happen. And it just came up one day, the same image, and I'm like, hey, like I recognize that. Okay, so like let me hit these people up and see what they're up to, like, and I think it was a Del Pochcali internship that I had applied for. And so I had told them like, hey, I don't care where I have to start off at. I'm just trying to get like my foot in the door to be able to do this kind of work that I want to do, which is work with youth. I had a job opportunity within the behavioral health before that to be a youth mentor. So like I was really adamant about this, right? Like I was gonna get this no matter what. But thank goodness it was like I was getting these little hints in the background of like, no, do it this way, do it through MILPA. Like they do it in a way that's really relatable to somebody like myself. Like I said, the imagery just caught me, and it just made me feel almost like, hey, these folks, these are my folks, you know? And you know, the rest is history. I got instead of going through a Telpachcali internship, I was actually hired on staff, and I was like, whoa, taken aback, like this is really happening. I can't believe this. And so, you know, reporting back to my other coworkers at the time before I actually started on the MILPA staff was like, hey y'all, guess what? I did it. I manifested it. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be working with youth. I'm gonna be doing all this awesome things that I had already been trying to put my energy into. But now I actually have the platform. I'm gonna do it. And like the people that were happy for me, my friends, my colleagues there, they were just ecstatic for me. And I was like super excited as well. But yes, definitely manifested my job at MILPA.
And how would you say that working at MILPA has affected your life?
Oh man, I'd say, and I've only been working with MILPA for a couple years now, but I know, and people that know me as well can definitely attest to the fact that I am a different person, totally different person than who I was a couple years ago. Yes, I did have these goals and I had these aspirations to do this type of work and be this type of person. But like I said, I didn't have the platform. Now I do. I have this platform to be able to really put this you know, passion that I have into play. And I mean, I think it's more along the lines of just having a lot of opportunity now. Before that, I did not have. A lot of people shut me out. They didn't want to give me no chance because I am a formerly incarcerated person. And that's really frowned upon in our society nowadays. It's like, oh, you went to jail, you're a bad person, and you know, we can't trust you because you went to jail. Like, not at MILPA. If anything, it's it's almost like a requirement. Like, no, we need people like you who have the experience to be able to say, hey, you know, this is what I'm going through, and I or have been through in my life, right? So I'd say just, man, I've been given a platform and I'm very grateful for it. I've been given family as well. I feel like y'all are my family. You guys have been the most supportive folks, like I'd say in my life, honestly, like, and I feel like there's nowhere to go but up from here, especially with the support that I have from y'all. Like, it's nothing but love because I mean, I feel it. I mean, look at where we're at now. We're highlighting my story, and this is all because of my job at MILPA and them just really, y'all just having like this, you know, faith in me, or like just wanting to highlight my story and help with my dreams and aspirations. And that's something that I'm not used to. So I'm super grateful for it. Love my fam, I love the support. And I mean, man, like I said, I wouldn't be the person I am today if it wasn't for the opportunity that MILPA gave me and is continuing to give me, to help me push forward and, you know, reach these goals of, man, just making some change.
We love you too, Des.
Shout out to Des. Woo! Thank you, Des, for always bringing that good energy, those good vibes, the laughter, the comedy. And I know that in the time that I've known you, I've definitely seen a change in you. And you inspire me too. Like some of the things that you say, like, oh, hell no, like I'm going to put up this boundary, or I'm not going to do this, or I'm not going to do that. It's like, okay, that's right. Okay. That reminds me to be a badass bitch, right? So that's always really good. But for you, what inspires you're an artist, right? So like what inspires your art, your comedy, your, you do like drawing, like paintings and whatnot, you do writing, but I also feel like in some form or another you're like you're into comedy, right? Just because like you just make me laugh, right? And like you have stories and you know you're able to like bring that good energy. So what inspires that within you to like, because you just have this really good energy about you come into the room and you're just kind of like, oh. So feel free to like let us know like what inspires you, what brings that energy. Is that just your personality, or is there something in particular that inspires that?
Oh, you guys are so sweet. I'm about to tear up. Tear. No, for the most part though, honestly, I'd say just life, my life experiences, others' life experiences. You know, a lot of the times it's better to just laugh it off than to be upset and to cry about it. Like you can't cry over spilled milk. People do, and it's okay to do that. But I'm more along the lines of like, I'm gonna just laugh it off. I'm gonna just laugh it off. And you know what? It is what it is. But as far as like my art, that's the same as well. What is it? Frida, I am my own muse. I feel like I am my own muse. My life experience, myself, my growth, my journeys that I've been through, a lot of say like my poetry is things that I've actually been through and my actual feelings onto a paper. When it comes to like my drawings, it's like maybe how I view myself or you know, how I want to be, or, you know, it's kind of like in a way, my art is also part of my manifestations as well, because it's like, hey, you draw something and this could be a reality, right? So I'd say for the most part, yes, me and my life experiences and the experiences of others are a very big inspiration for the things that I do, whether it's my art or my comedy. You know, just referencing the things that I do know.
Yeah, for sure. And with that, what's your call to action for the young folks that grew up maybe with similar circumstances as you did?
I mean, I don't want to be like corny or anything, you know, because you always hear, and I know even, you know, growing up in the system as well, you come across a lot of system folks and they're just like, everything's going to be okay. You're going to be all right. Like, you know, but coming from somebody who's been through it, I can tell you just try to be as optimistic as you can. Don't let anybody get you down. Just be you, be your true authentic self. Don't let outside influences make you something that you're not. Yes, be yourself. Don't let nobody get you down. And what was the last one? Something else.
You know, there's I appreciate your story, and I think, you know, there should be like a follow-up episode to Des' story, right? And just continue like yeah, just to continue to like um updating folks, right, in Des's life. What's Des up to today, you know? Or listening to you sharing your story, right? Obviously, you know, there's experiences, right, that sometimes we just kind of like shut out or just don't remember right now, which was like good experiences for folks that have similarities, right, with our lives and our upbringing. And then just around that call to action, um, maybe you can tell us a little, like, what message would you give yourself, right? I know you know, said, like, you know, you mentioned, you know, be your authentic self, but really maybe taking it a step back before, you know, becoming aware of the circumstances, the conditions that affects our lives, right? Of becoming aware of the social injustices that are going on. Maybe think about like someone that's not aware of what's like really going on and just really struggling with day-to-day life, right? At that moment, taking yourself back, like what type of message would you give yourself in that moment, right?
I'd say, and this is something that I struggled with growing up, is don't be afraid to ask for help. You know, a lot of the times, and especially in culture nowadays, it's like everybody's like, I don't need nobody, I could do it myself, you know? I'd say for the most part, if I could, you know, tell my old self, like just accept the help that was being given from whoever, you know, not from whoever, don't accept help from just anybody. But just don't
Get in my van, I have candy.
No, I'd say just like, yeah, well, don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to and this is also part of being your authentic self, right? It's just like, don't be afraid to show those sides of yourself. Like if you're hurting, if something's going on, if you don't know how to process things, if you don't know like anything really, like especially as a teenager or like a youth, you know, just I think everything's a question, you know, and sometimes you need guidance. Sometimes it's legit just like some question about like your body or, you know, like the thoughts that are going through your head, you know. So yes, I think one of the big things would be like, don't be afraid to ask for help from the appropriate people, from people that you trust. Because that could be, you know, something that could really help you get forward in life, or at least move on from whatever it is that you're dealing with. And even if it's, say, like a professional, you know, there are people out there, services hopefully in your area that you can try and receive, and just, you know, say you don't want to talk to a family member about these, whatever it is that you're going through, to be able to talk to somebody who's a professional, who's basically like obligated legally to not say anything. So yeah, point blank, just don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be ashamed.
No, I got one more. Listening to you, right, just came up like, so that's a message like to yourself, to other youth, right, to the folks listening. But take it a little bit more personal. It's like, you know, just because it's being, you know, this is like, it's gonna stay on like the on the internet, right? It's just gonna be accessible for like the rest of our lives, hopefully, right? And you know, understanding you have a son, you know, the little Micah. Maybe we could take this platform, right? And what message do you want to have him listen to when he gets a little older? What message would you give him right now? Or you want to give him right now? You just, you know, like kind of like a time capsule type of thing, you know? So,
okay, so dear future Micah, I love you so much, my precious child. I hope that by the time you're watching this, you're probably grown up, doing very well in college. And if you're not in college, you're happy doing whatever it is you're doing. Just know that I love you very much, and that's unconditionally. I would just say to you, be yourself, because who you are is wonderful and intelligent and kind, and that's something that this world needs more of. So don't stop being your awesome self, my little baby, except you're not a baby anymore because this is in the future. Tear. He's probably going to be a man and, you know, doing all those cool things in the future that probably I don't even want to think about right now. I know my life when growing up. So just, yes, keep being you, keep being kind, keep being the person with a big heart, because I know that's who you are. And just lead with that, lead with your heart, with whatever it is that you're doing in life. Always check in with your heart.
Yeah. I love
What
it.
an episode to come back to, y'all.
Yeehaw. Well, thank you so much, Des, for giving us your time and your energy. Dance party. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate your words, and I think it's gonna be a treat even for like Micah when he's grown, or for anybody that's watching, right? Anybody that can relate to your story, that has gone maybe through similar experiences, and even people that haven't, you know, can. I think that your light shines really bright, and so it's awesome to just see. And you're right, like the kindness has to show through. So just thank you, and I appreciate you. And yeah, feel free to, you know, lead us off with any final words that you have, that anything we didn't ask you, anything that's just in your heart right now that you want to share. Feel free to take it away, and yeah, say, and thank you to the viewers that have been watching. But Des, I'll pass it back to you.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to thank you all so much for the time and the opportunity. Like I said, you know, these kind of platforms is what's going to help future generations. So just thank you all so much. And to the people watching, the viewers, hopefully something that I've said today touched your hearts. And, you know, like I said, I'm trying to plant those seeds. So maybe I'm planting some of those seeds right now within this episode. Gardening. But yeah, just appreciate y'all so much. Much love. Yeah.
All right, y'all, you heard it here. Season 2 kickoff. All right, peace. Have a wonderful day. Bye.